Hey, everybody. We are just kicking off the Mrs. Claus Christmas Chronicles. And I am super excited to have everybody here with me. Let me get rid of my mouse for just a second. Okay, perfect. Hopefully, some people come in and start interacting with us. If not, and you're watching the replay from home, great. Still love to have all of you here watching and crafting along. Let me see if I can turn on the light and make it a little bit brighter in here. I can reach it. Okay. There. Whoop. Maybe. There we go. Got a little bit brighter in here. It's a little bit easier for everybody to be able to see. Okay. Perfect. Hopefully you got your either coffee or cocoa or whatever your beverage of choice is. Okay. Today we're going to get started on the Mrs. Claus Christmas Chronicles with the Paper and Prose Society. And just like with the Bride of Frankenstein, we will be doing a story as well as a junk journal to go along with it. So I think it's really important kind of to understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. Essentially, for as long as stories have been told, women have been there, not just listening, not just loving, not just waiting to be rescued, but living the stories that never got written. And yet again, patriarchy turns us into background music. We become the prize, the end, the quest, the caregiver of someone else's destiny, and the gentle hand behind the hero's glory. We were written as a destination, not as the traveler, the muse, not the maker, and the lesson, not the legend. But what if we told a different story? What if we opened the pages of these old myths and fairy tales like we did with the Bride of Frankenstein and listen for the women's voices beneath the noise and the ones who were silenced and softened or often forgotten? And that's where the Paper and Prose Society was created to do, to give women, both real and imagined, their moment to shine, to tell this heroine story that were left untold, the journeys of women who create, nurture, build, believe, even when no one is watching. Each session, we breathe new life into the woman's history, forgotten and never truly saw, through storytelling, art journaling, and creative reflection. We'll reclaim their stories, and in doing so, reclaim our own. This winter, we began with Clara Celeste Noel Claus, the woman behind the myth of Mrs. Claus, or at least Clara Celeste Noel Claus is the name I've given her, because frankly, does anybody know what Mrs. Claus's actual name is? She's not just Santa's wife, but the heart of the North Pole, the maker of magic, the keeper of traditions, and the quiet architect of joy. As you journal through her chronicles, may you also rediscover your own voice, your power to shape your story, to redefine what it means to be the heroine in your own life, because the greatest story yet to be told is yours. Thank you for joining me. I am Tiffany. I am the founder of the Paper and Prose Society and Junk Journal AI. If you go to Junk Journal AI, the website, and click on the Paper and Prose Society link, you will find the entire packet for the Mrs. Claus Christmas Chronicles, which outlines kind of explaining what we're doing. And each week, it's a 6-week long art journaling or storytelling and junk journaling challenge. We include a backstory, journal page layout ideas, creative project ideas, holiday recipes, and reflection. In addition to that, examples of all of the projects and recipes can be found on the Paper and Prose Society's Pinterest board. So I've actually added those to a Pinterest board specifically for the Mrs. Claus Chronicles. So if you're like, well, I don't understand what, Christmas snowball cookies are, there's a recipe on the Pinterest board. In addition to that, in week 6, we're going to do a full trade of Christmas cards and ATC. So if you're interested in taking part of that, send your address to info@junkjournalai by 11:15. We'll compile the number of people and number of cards that you need to create. And then we'll get you out instructions on where to send your cards. And then they will also then be returned. We'll split up the cards and then send them back. So exciting stuff. We're doing it that way to protect everybody's addresses and things of that nature. Each week you will get the week title with the theme. Week 1 is the theme is wonder. The backstory is before she was Mrs. Claus, she was the girl who believed in impossible things. This week opens her diary to memorable holidays she remembers growing up, the glittering snow, the sense of magic was real, and the dream that someday she'd bring joy to others to teach and inspire children. I have included in the instructions some journal page ideas that you could possibly do, as well as creative inspiration for crafts that you can do, recipes, and so on. All of these things in both the journal page ideas and the creative inspiration you can find on the Pinterest page. Examples of what I'm intending here. In addition to that, I have also included after all, this is a journal and it is your journal as well as her story. And so I've included the magic of Christmas, a personal journal memory. So journal prompts for your own personal journal to reminisce about a variety of things that go along with the theme for the week. So we have 6 weeks. Week 2 is love. The theme is love. So it's really the period of week 1 was Mrs. Claus's childhood. Week 2 is really the love story of how she met Santa or Kris Kringle. Week 3 goes into now she's married. So it's the Whispers of the Workshop. Theme is joy, and a lot of fun stuff going on during this time, including, she crafts magic potions that make things levitate, which leads to flying elves and eventually the idea for the flying reindeer. So a lot of fun things that you could journal and or create in your junk journal to go along with that topic. Week 4 is the hearth and home. Christmas Eve is all about deliveries. So this is at the point where she and Santa are actually delivering gifts. The theme is giving, and there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff here, including, part of the backstory is late one night, Kris gifts her with a tiny orphaned reindeer. So we have the start of where the reindeers came from. Exciting things. So week 5 is keeping the magic alive, and the theme is reflection. And really, at this point, Mrs. Claus is getting older, and she's really starting to reminisce, back on her life. And each week builds upon her life story, and allows us to tell the true story of Mrs. Claus as the center heroine in this tale, right? And then week 6 is her letter to the world. So, and the theme is hope. So the story closes with Mrs. Claus penning her final Christmas letter, much like those letters that we used to send in Christmas cards, but this is more of a message of hope to future dreamers. So I have been writing Mrs. Claus's story as I've been going along, and I'm really excited for you all to take part in this. Feel free to write your own version of Mrs. Claus's story. I look forward to reading what you all come up with, but you can also use the story that I'm posting. I will post it periodically on the Paper and Prose Society's website, or Facebook group. It will definitely be posted on the junkjournal.ai website. And also there's a Substack for the Paper and Prose Society that you can follow along and subscribe to be able to get the story in your inbox. I am really excited also to weave in not just her story, but also, the journal and think through some of the personal journal memories, and really reestablish the magic of the Christmas season for myself. I have written the story in first person point of view as if it is Mrs. Claus actually talking to you. So that was exciting. Think, Bridgerton-esque Mrs. Claus, writing to her readers. So I've included in the packet also just a quick information on Junk Journal AI as well as the Paper and Prose Society. Please join us on Facebook. You can also follow me at Junk Journal AI on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as here, of course, on YouTube. Like and follow along, so that way you don't miss out on any of the really fun things that are coming up, including coming up in December, we will be doing the 12 Magical Nights. The 12 Magical Nights is really an intention setting for 2026. And you select 3 wishes. It goes along with the winter solstice. If you go to 12magicalnights.com, there's a whole bunch of information about what exactly this is and kind of what the process is of setting your wishes. And I am going to do a Zoom, which we'll have ready to sign up free to anybody who wants to join us, where we can craft along and create a journal that goes with the 12 Magical Nights. It'll probably be on, I think, the 18th or 19th of December. The 12 Magical Nights, the winter solstice, kicks off on, I believe, the 21st of December is the first date, and it runs through the 1st. So more information about that at the website, 12magicalnights.com. So, and then I have included 50 giant pages full of all kinds of fun things. So including recipe cards, because again, part of this is Mrs. Claus is the cookie lady, right? So I included on the Pinterest page cookies to go with each theme, as well as a drink to go with each theme. And then included some recipe cards that you can print out. So all of this is stuff that you could print on whatever thickness of paper you want there, or sticker pages. There's some washi tape type examples. And then there are, like I said, 50 pages of graphics that kind of go along with the Mrs. Claus theme. So feel free to download this at Junk Journal AI. Go to the Paper and Prose Society. There's just literally all kinds of backgrounds of our kitchen, several of those different kitchens, and stickers, and just all kinds of things. So in order to get that, you have to go to the website and download it from there, the Paper and Prose Christmas Challenge printable. So really look forward to you guys being able to take part in this as we go along. So tonight, since I am getting ready, this is week 1, and I've had to start my journal. I think I've posted a couple times. I have just set everything up here ready to go with all kinds of fun things. And so what I'm going to be doing is we'll probably be doing lives on Thursdays, both here on YouTube and over on TikTok, as well as we will also be doing on Sundays a journal or craft along with me. So not just the journal, but also as part of this, I have some crafts. So I have a whole bunch of things to just craft along with you, deal with, put work in your journal, things like that. If you want to join us, please do. I have lots of fun stuff. My journal is going to be something really special, because when I went to try to figure out exactly what did I want Mrs. Claus's journal to look like, I knew that, Mrs. Claus is an old tale, and I wanted something vintage. And so I found this vintage, it's a photo album, a vintage photo album, which I know I've shown other people on the various different social medias, but it's a really old, probably 1800s-ish photo album. I'm pretty sure it's stuffed with either horsehair or straw. There's definitely some weird stuffing in here, not sure. The velvet is worn and has gone threadbare in a lot of places. I think there was, I can see hints of like a design in the velvet where it used to be. But let me just flip through this. It has some condition issues. Whoops, that's the backside. Which is also why I'm not going to feel super bad. I think I mentioned, well, I don't know if you guys can see that. You can barely see that. I think it used to say album and had like a design on the front of it, which I think is really interesting. Because you can just barely make out the information there. So anyway, the album, it's a very, very old photo album. I almost felt bad about taking it apart, but I think I am going to do it, because I think that in order for this poor album to live on into the future, it needs to be saved. And I'm going to do that by making it a piece of art that's into a junk journal. So it had these very beautiful areas where photos were, and whoever took the photos out was not very gentle in removing these. So that's where I was at first going to keep the whole thing together. But unfortunately, it just has a lot of like serious condition issues. I am going to reuse some of these pages in my journal, which So tonight we're gonna get ready and take this apart very gently and hopefully be able to salvage this poor thing. It is very interestingly made. I don't know if anybody is into creating their own books like I am. I thought it was a very interesting design that I had not seen before, where they've actually created this accordion. Let me see if I can show you this. They've created this accordion with like a fabric tape that's built into the, it's like a hard card paper and the overlay of paper, and then it's all connected with this like fabric-y material. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but they've got there's this makes up the spine, these little pieces, and then the pages, and they flex in here. Part of the reason why it's starting to fall apart is there's way too much flex. I don't know if at one point in time it was actually attached to this, but the actual spine of the fabric is no longer attached. So if there was ever paper there, I'm not really sure. But we're gonna very gently cut this apart. And normally it would make my heart hurt a little bit to do this, but I think in the end, because of the condition issues, this thing is probably would end up have gotten, tossed in the trash or whatever. Okay. Unfortunately, I think I nicked that one. Okay. So we're going to set this part of it aside because we are going to reuse some of these pages within our journal itself. So that's going to be super exciting. So let me set that over there. And then let's dust this off into the trash can. This is dirty on the inside. Okay, so there is my there's my journal cover as it stands, and I've got to figure out a way to reinforce this area here, and my signatures are going to lay on the inside of this particular book. So I will probably not stick anything over the outside. I love how you see that little shadow, like it really makes it, I love the old vintage vibe of this. I do have to figure out something for that spine because like I said, that velvet is really thin, threadbare, and I can actually see through it, through the light. And so I am worried about that long term. Probably will attach my spine to the side panels because they're, good and secure, and figure out a way to do that so as not to disrupt that. And I'll still have the ability for that to fold. So yeah, that's really exciting. I don't know what is in here. It's hard to tell. I don't want to take it apart, but it's definitely stuffed with something, which I think is really interesting. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the outside of this. So if you have any recommendations or ideas, please put them in the comments because I'm really excited to see, what other people's ideas. I have looked online. I've been scouring online resources to figure out exactly how I want to do her cover. And I really just haven't yet decided exactly what I want. I think this used to have some sort of clasp because there's a pin in this. Definitely want to figure out a way to kind of hold it together. And we'll probably vacuum this thing because it looks really dirty. I don't know how, there's not really any good way to clean this. Full of our wonderful, dust and things like that as well. So I'm going to set this aside. That's ready to go. I do need to start planning out my pages. And I'm really excited to work through some papers and things like that. So here, we'll just set this over here and kind of decide what I want my papers to be and how I want to plan this out. So I figured we'd go through the planning process. We've got about 30 more minutes that we can work together. So again, this is week 1. The theme is wonder. This is really Mrs. Claus in her childhood. So I really want this, this part of it to really be kind of a beautiful nod to childhood wonder. And I bought a bunch of different packs because I had no Christmas paper, and I don't normally do this. As you all know, I have I made junk journal AI that I don't normally buy paper, but I did. I think Michael's was running a sale and everything was 50% off. So I did break down and purchase some stuff. Now, given the fact that Mrs. Claus at this stage is younger and wouldn't have met Santa yet, doesn't have the reindeer yet, I'm really looking for papers that are kind of younger. I think these are really beautiful with the bows and things of that nature. So I would definitely stay away from anything that has not developed in my story yet. So this is really pretty. A lot of really just beautiful papers. Now, in my story, which you'll be able to see on Substack or on the Facebook page or even on the website, essentially, Mrs. Claus is, this is her as a young woman, and I gave her the name Claire Celeste Noel Claus. Put in the comments what you think her name should be. I think because she never legitimately had a name, it could essentially be anything. So at this point, the backstory is that Mrs. Claus, again, was a girl who believed in possible things. This week opens her diary to the first winter that she remembers. The glittering snow, the sense of magic was real, and the dream that someday she'd bring joy to others. So I definitely want something that kind of goes along with that. So my story is those who still believe that snow, this is again her telling the story. Those who still believe that the first snow of the season holds a kind of hush. You're right. There's a pause, a breath just before the flakes land, where the whole world seems to stand still and remember itself. It's quiet and stillness that blankets the earth in peace, long and stillness that blankets the earth in peace, long to listen for with each that I'm gonna have to. That entire sentence doesn't even make sense. My mother used to say, I'll have to rewrite that. I haven't posted anything yet. My mother used to say that it was when the veil between the ordinary and the extraordinary thinned, and if you listen closely, you could hear the earth exhale. So essentially, Mrs. Claus is in the Northeast Swedish area. So this is long before Christmas was actually a reality, right? So we're telling the story as, her as a little girl. I was once a girl, Claire Celeste Noel, before anyone thought of me as Mrs. Claus. And in those days, we didn't celebrate Christmas, not yet. We celebrated the turning of the light, what the old ones called Yule or winter solstice. So we need to do a winter solstice spread. So I'm not sure that most of this is going to apply. However, where's my paper set? I have been working on, and they're not here. I have been working on hand dyeing paper. So I think things like this, that looks like wallpaper would be great at this point. This one's really cool. It's kind of like a wintry toile scene. Kind of like that one. Everything is kind of in that reddish color. That looks like a patchwork quilt. What does this say? I'm not sure. It's in another language. Looks like purple pearls and pins and roses. What am I looking for? I like the polka dot. That's really pretty. None of these are really screaming. I like this one with the bird. So maybe we'll set the birds aside to start us off with, because she does do a walk in the woods in her story. Flip through here. I like this double-sided paper because it gives us more options. There's flowers, and again, a damask-esque fabric. This was really pretty. Just like it says, let's say. Well, if you can read their little chicken scratches, I think it says. There's a poem about Christmas on here, I think. Again, I'm not sure. I love all of these. So I think I'm going to go with the birds as my main pages. Put that away. And then I bought paper at Temu. I do not recommend. It is really thin, and of course it arrived. It's only one-sided, and then it arrived in a baggie and not, this is the Temu paper, but it had cookies, which is why I got it. But the corners are all dented, which is really frustrating. And the colors are a little washed out, so Temu, not wonderful. I think I'll save some of these cookie-esque papers for later. And again, we have this one, which has a lot of like the baking stuff in it. So I don't know if this pink stuff really goes with the vibe. These are really pretty. Dog. I'm going to stay away from anything that says Christmas at this point. This kind of looks a little girlish. I'm thinking of her as a little girl. I'm going to pull that out and we'll use it as one of the bases for our pages. I'm really just trying to find my background papers at this point, and really look for nothing with Santa's head on it. Looking for something that goes merry and bright. The trees. She does talk in here about the tree and, pulling the Yule tree into the house and decorating it. So I think we will pull that in. Again, a lot of this feels, because it has the pink in there, little girl, which is a lot. I think I'm going to pull a pink piece too. Okay, so that kind of gives us the little girl vibe that I'm going for in this first chapter of Mrs. Claus's Chronicles. So let me set these aside. I have all kinds of things like tissue paper and sparkly papers and, even, boxes for Christmas cards that arrived, Christmas Carol, vintage Christmas Carol, and advertisements and things like that to be included in here, which will be loads of fun as time goes on, especially when we get to the crafts portion. So please make sure that you come spend some time with me on Sundays. Probably go live Sunday afternoons, I think, on either here or TikTok on Sunday afternoons anyway. So I am going to, here's my pages. Again, they went into the forest and I'm kind of trying to pick my theme around my junk journal to go with and match my overall vibe with this particular thing. So this particular chapter or week with her childhood. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. But I will, because this paper unfortunately is not double-sided, I am going to end up facing these and probably making them into, I'll probably do the tree opening scene, maybe. Oh, this paper is double-sided though. I had more than one sheet of that. And then we will do the tree and the bows at the end. Unfortunately, Mrs. Claus's story, like most of our stories, isn't all sunshine and roses. She's breathing life into Mrs. Claus. She talks a lot in the very beginning about her mother and then the loss of her mother and how that affected her. So in my story. So, and then, unfortunately, Mrs. Claus had a very demanding father, and she used the winter solstice and Christmas time as her way to reconnect with the memory of her mom. So I really look forward to you guys crafting along with me and reading the story as time goes on. Look forward to seeing you guys either on TikTok or the Facebook group. Please join us on the TikTok and Facebook groups, especially the Facebook group, Paper and Prose Society. Look forward to you guys spending some time with us, making your very own journal. See you on Sunday.